Hi, and welcome to the Power of Walk information session. I'm Diana Waters. I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my story and how I came to create this course. And then we're going to go into some specifics about the course. We're going to talk about some benefits, dates, and how it all works. So I'm an accredited riding coach, equine assisted psychotherapist, and I'm the founder of the Power of Walk. I first stumbled upon the magic of walk work in 2004 while working with my Icelandic horse, Swala, who you can see here in this picture. So I bought Swala when I was 18. I was working at a trail riding centre for Icelandic horses, for people to experience riding Icelandic horses. And Icelandic horses have an extra gait called the tolt, which is beautiful to ride. It's a natural gait. It's like a running walk. The centre where I worked for trail riding closed down and sold their horses. And I was just able to afford Swala. He was going cheap because he had sweet itch. So I got his sweet itch under control, and then I just enjoyed riding him on pleasure rides. So we'd sometimes go for long rides over multiple days, or we go for fun rides like a Christmas fancy dress ride and a Halloween trick or treat ride. Just had lots of fun with him. In 2004, the British Championship for Icelandic horses was scheduled to take place only 20 minutes ride from where I kept Swala. So I decided that I would enter. Icelandic horse shows are you ride on a big oval track and you show off all of your horse's gaits: walk, trot, canter, tolt. Some horses do flying pace. Swallow is just walk, trot, canter, tolt. And you get assessed on the quality of gaits. So I went in really for fun, but decided to do some preparation and try and improve his gaits a little bit. And the thing that I noticed first was that he would tend to be we tend to sort of rush in all his gaits. So he would fall forwards and use momentum for his balance instead of lightening the front end and balancing correctly. So I decided to play around with how I could improve this. And I discovered that when I really thought about it, what I wanted to do was to just change the way that he balanced and the way that he distributed his weight. And I figured out that if I started in a halt and then just asked for one or two steps of very slow walk, one at a time, giving him plenty of time to work out his balance between the steps, that he would become lighter and more naturally balanced, more able to carry himself. So I thought that I had discovered something quite cool, and I gave it a name. I called it Gradual Walk, and I used it to teach Swallow about the balance. And then I found that all of his gaits improved naturally as a result of that. So the British Championships were coming up, and we were finally ready to enter. And Swallow actually won the novice champion in 2004. So here's a lovely picture of him looking very proud of himself with his rosettes, and me looking quite surprised. Later, I discovered Heather Moffat and French classical when I was looking for a kinder way to ride. I trained with Heather, qualifying as an enlightened equitation teacher in 2011. I was the first ever student to qualify with distinction. While I was at Heather's, I experienced the magic of school walk. So this is Sudi, Heather's, at the time, his 19-year-old Lusitano, in school walk. And you can see that it's a slow motion walk. He carefully balances between each of his feet and sort of hovers his feet above the ground before putting them down softly and gently. And for the rider, you have to enter a very calm state, almost a very highly focused state, almost meditation, which brings you into oneness with the horse, so that you are then able to maneuver the horse just through a thought aid. So I thought the school walk was the most wonderful and amazing thing that I'd ever experienced. And it was bringing back some sort of memory for me. And I suddenly realized that the school walk was the gradual walk that I had discovered those years back with Swala. So it was really exciting for me to realize that this was an actual thing that was used in French classical dressage. But it was something that I hadn't heard of before. So I was quite curious to spend a little bit more time in it and learn about some more of the benefits and experience some more of the benefits of working in school walk. So I went home and tried it out on various horses, and I was amazed to notice some unexpected benefits. I've continued to notice more and more benefits since making this work a foundation to all that I do with horses. So if you look at the pictures here, you can see some unexpected ways that the horses have changed as a result of working them in walk. So I'm going to show you now some case studies which explain in a little bit more detail some of the changes that I saw. So Trevor was an 11-year-old ex-race horse. He was the first horse that I really tried this work with when I went back to Australia. So he had an underdeveloped top line and quite tense movement. So using targeted walk work, both in hand and ridden, I improved his posture, building his top line for fluid movement and responsiveness. So with him, I really wanted he would go around with his head up in the air like a giraffe. And I very uncomfortable to ride and very sort of uncoordinated. And I really began the work with the hope of bringing him into better balance and to make him nicer to ride and more comfortable. So the benefits of the building of the top line were quite unexpected for me. And that was only the start of several similar discoveries. So next we've got Flicker here, who is a young Arab mare, not yet started under saddle, with high-low syndrome and significant body crookedness. I worked with her in hand really to address the crookedness, and you can see here I first noticed it watching her trot up the hill because I'd give her her feed and then open the gate and let her trot up the hill to her hay. And every time I noticed the same pattern of the rib cage falling out to the left and the neck kind of curving to the right here and a little bit of a head tilt. And so I started documenting it by video to make sure I wasn't imagining it, which I wasn't. And then I began to create a tailored plan towards straightening this crookedness through the in-hand work. So within about a month, she was moving like this, just of her own accord out in the field. So I feel as if the work really helped her not only to understand how to move straighter, but to experience how good it felt in her body, so that she then chose to move in that way without any guidance when she was out in the field. But here was a time when I had another of those unexpected benefits, because when I began working with Flicker, she had quite bad cow hocks. You can see the hocks turn in, the feet turn out. I wasn't really that fussed about it. I've worked with horses that have cow hocks before, and often it doesn't really seem to affect them very much. But I just started to notice, and again, I wasn't sure if it was my imagination at first, but it looked as if she was starting to straighten out. So I started taking photos of her every day from the same angle while she was eating her feed. And this is within 10 days, we had the change from this to this. So her hocks had completely straightened as a result of the in-hand work I did with her, which I thought was really cool and really interesting. Rocky was with me as a riding school pony. So I had a few children come and ride him, have lessons on him every week, 1 or 2 children. He wasn't working hard, but he developed Cushing's, and along with that, he developed quite a lot of muscle wastage. And I noticed that he had this real curvature develop in his back here. He developed quite a bad sway back, which would have been uncomfortable to put a saddle and a rider on, likely associated with kissing spines as well. So I stopped riding him as soon as I started to notice this, and I began in-hand work with him. And 5 weeks later, you can see that his back was straight. So that was through a combination of in-hand and ridden work, all carried out in walk to correct his posture. And again, just the same as with Flicker, he chose to move in this new way, even when I wasn't working with him. So although I only worked him about 20 minutes per day, 2 or 3 times a week. Once he had figured out that it felt good in his body to stand like this, he maintained this posture. And in fact, he's still with me 2-3 years later, and it still has a straight back. It doesn't go back to being dipped. So again, another really awesome side effect to improving a horse's posture, which I hadn't realized could happen, and particularly in terms of him being able to maintain that for himself, because I did think we might get a bit of an improvement, but I thought maybe I would need to continue to work him regularly in hand to sustain that. But no, once he figured out how to carry himself without pain, I didn't need to do any further work on that. So that brings me to where I am now. And I want to talk a little bit more about the walk work. So it's the walk work that I'm really passionate about that has created all these changes. And when I realized how impactful it was, and also how relatively simple it was, I wanted to teach it to other people, because I am a teacher. I love to teach. It's my absolute passion. I usually find that I'm quite good at working out how to explain things to people. But I did come across a bit of a roadblock with the in-hand work, because I was finding that when I was trying to give people lessons within a 45-minute time slot, they just weren't really getting it. And for a while, I was thinking maybe it's because it's something that you're kind of born with or you're not. So I think some of the really amazing best horse people of all, you watch certain horse people work with horses and it just looks like they intuitively know what to do, and often they really can't explain it to anybody else. So I was thinking for a while, maybe it's something you're born with, and maybe this level of connection is not something that can be specifically taught. But when I really thought about it, I thought, actually, I feel as if the problem is just that it's a little bit more than just teaching people where to stand and how to hold the reins. A lot of it is about finding a way that you can connect properly with the horse. And that is something that can be taught, because I could see what was holding people back from being able to do that. So I created the Power of Walk with the intention of giving an online platform where people could learn all of the theory and the skills, and then have time to put this into practice with their own horses, and have that time without that pressure to really build the connection aspect of it. So the course is a mixture. It's all carried out in walk. It begins right at the beginning with the magical stuff that I was talking about regarding the connection, and then it moves on to teach some specific skills and how to apply it to your own horse. So I think the combination, or the way that it's delivered, is what makes it successful. And it also goes on to a little bit of ridden work as well. So it's basically a 6-week course that covers in-hand skills and ridden skills, but it also covers the mysterious things that lie beneath the specific skills, because it is super, super important to me that people are able to come away from the course with the skills they need to continue the work. So it's everything that I have learned and I'm able to do, I want the people on the course to be able to do as well. So that's how I designed it, with that in mind. When we did the first intake of the course, which was back in February, I was so excited and blown away to see the improvements that I could see in people's photos and videos, and also their descriptions of how their horses had changed in terms of happiness and connection and all of those wonderful things. So I was really excited to find out that the course actually worked. So there's some testimonials up here. Also, there's these and more on my website. So you can visit that if you want to read them all properly. I did want to read this one out to you, though, because this testimonial was really special to me. This came from a lady who had done the course because she had a riding school and she'd obtained a horse who went around. She described her as giraffe pony. She went around with her head in the air, very upside down, but was also showing signs of pain and unhappiness in her general demeanor. So the main aim was to see if she could improve the posture and sort of address that first, and then maybe have a look at the other issues that were going on. So after the course, I got this beautiful message on Messenger from this lady. She said, yes, she's building muscle, and yes, she's developing in her work like your course promised, but it's more than that. Not only did she allow a very young child to quietly ride her, she also stood at the gate nickering to come in, and when we put her out again afterwards, she stayed and had loving touch and cuddles. Thank you so much. I've strongly recommended your course to basically everyone I know. What an about turn from the tense, anxious ball of nerves that you could hardly catch or handle, whose ears came back over her withers. Your course is amazing. So the reason why this meant such a lot to me is because my mission and my vision is to really be able to spread this work and to be able to impart my knowledge in a way that helps horses and people. And I think this little pony and the lady who owned her were helped so much, not just in terms of physical way of going, but in terms of being a happy horse and even being able to participate in the riding school work. So this was, and the lady also then went on to introduce the work to all the other horses in her riding school as well. So showing some amazing benefits to all of her horses. So the next intake of the Power of Walk is on July the 27th to September the 7th. The live online classes will take place on the dates shown. Replays are available, so if you're not able to make those times, then you still get to see the replays. So the live online courses, there are 7 online courses, and the reason for that is because, the classes, the reason for that is because at the start we have an introductory one which sets you up for beginning the course, and then we release one module per week onto the video library. You work through the module, and then at the end of the week we have a live session to debrief on what you've learned and for you to ask any questions, and also for me to introduce extra material to help you. So originally I was going to make the live sessions just open-ended question and answer sessions, but what I found happening within the Facebook group was that there were often themes coming up with things that people were struggling with or didn't understand or needed more help with troubleshooting certain problems. So when themes were arising, I found myself creating more material, videos and resources to help people address those common themes. So I ended up delivering these in the live classes and dependent on the needs of the group. So they've actually ended up not just being question and answer sessions. So I will usually deliver some new material within the sessions. I will also share some of the videos that people have shared on Facebook with their permission, of course. And we discuss the progress of those horses and we celebrate when people have made progress. So it's a really lovely, supportive community feel, because I think when people are in it together, we get more collective progress, and it's just nice. So every week there are carefully designed homework assignments, which are designed to keep you on track if you want to complete the course within the 6 weeks. If you don't want to complete it within 6 weeks, or if you're going away for part of it, or even if you just prefer to take things at a slower speed, you are still more than welcome at the live classes and to ask questions for whatever stage you are at. And the live class recordings remain available on the video platform along with all of the videos and resources, and they will stay there as long as the course exists. However, the private Facebook study group, which is a place where you can post videos and ask questions, and I will give you personalized feedback on those videos and questions, that stays live for the duration of the course and often for a little bit after the course as well. So every horse is different, but the benefits of doing this particular work, we will nearly always see improvements to posture. we'll see better straightness and alignment and better muscle development. So those are the physical things that you will see. You will likely experience a deeper connection. A lot of people come in already with very good connections with their horses, but often there's something added to that. We often see the horse have more of a desire to move forward, more of fluidity of movement and expressiveness in their gaits, longer stride, softer contact, and generally nicer to ride, and improve general happiness and attitude to work. So I'm just going to show you in a little bit more detail what's covered in the course. So module 1 is synchronization on a long rein, which is where you learn to meet your horse where they are and move together in a way that fosters security, focus, and connection. There are some audios which you can listen to while you walk with your horse or while you ride your horse, and they guide and bring awareness and connection, leading towards the goal of oneness. And the reason why those are important is because in order to experience this work to the full, you need to be able to enter into more of a feeling mindset rather than a thinking mindset. So by having the audios to listen to, you don't have to figure out and remember what it is you're supposed to be doing. You can just become quite immersed in the moment with your horse. Module 2 is connection and communication. You learn loving touch. You begin to ask your horse questions. You start some exercises such as rein back and halt transitions. And you learn the concept of letting in so that you can recognize it. So letting in is one of the major factors that contributes to that sort of telepathic feeling between the horse and human. So again, it's a really important foundation of the course. In module 3, we start to learn some technical in-hand skills. So you learn how to hold the reins and how to soften the neck. You learn how to recognize correct posture and how to test self-carriage, connection, and balance by releasing to halt. In terms of those in-hand skills, the way that I work is not to have one set way that everybody has to do it. The priority is always to take into account things like the size of the person compared to the horse, which affects where you stand, where the horse is comfortable with you standing, and things like that, which all affect how you hold the reins, how you position yourself, and so on. So you get given the basic skills, and then I expand on that with giving you plenty of support and guidance around your individual shares that you will put on Facebook. Coming on to introducing slow lateral work in hand, which is module 4. We start to introduce some French classical exercises, such as shoulder in. We walk through these on foot first, and the reason for that is because one of the keys I found to the difference in teaching in handwork as opposed to riding is that you need to be able to experience what it feels like in your own body in order to be able to give that telepathic communication to your horse. So we're not focusing on specific aids here. We're focusing on a deep understanding of what you want your horse to do. Module 5, we go on to straightening. So you learn about crookedness and how to support the horse into better alignment. You'll be guided through steps to analyze the nature of your horse's crookedness and come up with an individualized plan. So we don't do the same for every horse. Every horse has different needs. Every horse has different levels of crookedness and different directions of crookedness. So there's quite a clear and specific procedure that we take you through to assess your horse's crookedness, and then a plan that you come up with as to what exercises you need to do and in which direction. Module 6, the final module, is called Developing Ridden Straightness and Alignment. So riding is introduced in module 1 and is touched on throughout all of the modules. But in module 6, we go into a little bit more detail in how to carry out ridden classical exercises to bring your horse into better alignment. If you're not riding throughout the whole course, and quite a few people do this in hand only, the information that you get about riding helps to deepen your knowledge of the horse's body anyway. So in module 6, people who aren't riding will generally deepen their skills in-hand work and use the similar skills to what the riders are using in order to really improve their horse's straightness and alignment. So we're going to take a quick look inside the course space. This is what it looks like there. When you log in and open it up, you'll see your modules here. Now, the modules are released on a week-by-week basis. So module 1 is released in week 1. And the reason for this is, well, there's a number of reasons. We want people to really understand the basics before and have tried out the basics before moving on, because the basics are what really make this course, and they are super important. But also, we find that it really helps people to keep on track if they only have to worry about one module at a time. And we found that that's a really good way of supporting people to complete the course as well, because it can be really helpful to have that extra motivation and people keeping you on track. So once you click on the module that you want to work on, you'll see a series of video lessons. The video lessons are usually between 4 minutes and up to 20 minutes. They start with a little bit of theory and then generally go on to a demonstration. So all of the exercises have a video demonstration with a real life horse, as well as the theory explanations. And then we have extra resources on the left here. So you will have a list of your suggested homework tasks and instructions on how to do it here. If there are audios that go with the module, they'll be included here for you to download onto your phone and listen to while you ride. And any extra resources, I'll often make more resources as the course goes on according to what people need. So any extra resources, PDFs, are included here as well. And every week we upload the recording for the live Zoom so that you can watch back over that. So my course has a logical step-by-step practical process to follow. And I think it's unique in that I have incorporated the logic with the flexibility needed to really listen to your horse and respond to your horse's individual needs. So I think I've managed to keep the magic and the beauty of it, but also give you something clear to work through that enables you to learn the skills you need without becoming overwhelmed. There's a super high level of support because, as I said before, I'm really invested in your success. So we have questions and answers, live Zooms, and individual feedback on the Facebook page. The course is horse-centered. So one of the very first things that we talk about on the course is how to take feedback from your horse. And those of you that follow me on Facebook know that I talk a lot about learning from the horse. I believe that the horse is the expert. But sometimes people can be confused about how you learn from your horse. So this teaches you how to recognize that something is benefiting your horse. And it absolutely prioritizes having the horse happy throughout the whole process. So it's not just a case of no pain, no gain, or getting the horse through to an end point. The horse needs to be happy throughout the process. And that's one of the things that makes the process so successful as well. The course is based on biomechanics and French classical dressage, and some people can feel intimidated by this, but I don't want you to feel intimidated by it. There's lots of really cool, interesting theory that explains why the things that I do work. The things that I do are taken from a framework of French classical dressage. But what I've done is I've taken the cool and important information and tried to put it into a way that is easy to understand without using unnecessary big words or having to have it sort of up on a mysterious pedestal. So we are using good sound French classical basics that are very profound. And we are focusing on the foundations and building those really correctly and strongly. It's suitable for all people and all horses. So I try to cater for all learning styles. It's suitable whether you're a beginner or an advanced rider. It's suitable whether you are an eventer or whether you are a dressage rider or you like to go on trail rides or like to go to a riding club. It's suitable for anybody. Because it is foundational work, it impacts every aspect of your horse's performance and your horse's happiness and health. When I say it's suitable for all horses, French Classical is renowned for being well suited to every type of horse and pony. So it's a bit of a misconception that if you do French Classical, you have to have a fancy Iberian horse or something like that. In actual fact, because it is so biomechanically correct and based on meeting the needs of the horse and respect and connection with the horse, that means that it's adaptable to all types of conformation, all sizes, all breeds, and it will benefit every horse and bring them from where they are to a better place for them. And finally, there are proven results. When you go on, if you go onto my website, you can see details of case studies and testimonials. So if you do this course, you will see the differences that you want to see in your horse. The sun beats down on the bright white sand. Instructor is yelling, "More leg to hand!" I trot round in circles, my eyes to the ground, my ears overwhelmed by the bossy loud sound. I feel the frustration. Something's not right. My rider seeks connection, but her body feels tight. I push with my hind legs, I brace my sides, trying to avoid the pressure as she rides. We fly along fast. The instructor seems pleased. For a moment I am patted, and the pressure is eased. My joints are aching, and my back feels sore. I have a quick rest, then they ask for more. Next day she comes to see me, and something feels new. She touches me gently, with a softness I can feel. I have felt it within her, but she never let it out. It was always repressed by instructor's bossy shout. My muscles that were aching begin to feel okay. Beneath her gentle touch, the tension falls away. My rider is beautiful. Today she is real. She's putting her true self into her field. We walk for a while, and she is present with me. I've been waiting to meet her, and today she can see. I feel her calmness radiate like soft winter sun. We walk step in step, and at last we are one. Her gentle touch guides me. I cannot explain, but the tension's releasing. I'm no longer in pain. Together we move, at first in a trance. I feel elegant and proud, and my body can dance. She sits on my back, but it's different from before. Instead of feeling blocked, I want to move more. The arena is hushed, there's no pressure on my sides. Her body is connected and fluid as she rides. I soften and relax as I realize I'm free. The pressure has gone, and it's just her and me. So thank you for watching. I hope that you can share my dream of spreading the knowledge about this beautiful work and be a part of it. So if you'd like to enroll on the course, information is on the website and you can enroll on there as well. So it's www.thepowerofwalk.com. Thank you for watching.